Watch out, cause I'm here now and I'm staying. Claws out, this the fight that I've been craving. I know there's something inside of me, but it's been masked by fear and anxiety. But no more, I'ma break out of the chains. Let's go! I'm waking up, this ain't enough. All of my dreams were starting to rust, but I believe that I can adjust. Positive thoughts, I'm starting to trust. Nothing's deserved unless you work. Something of worth requires an urge. I have been hurt by those at their worst, but that gave me will, some power, a surge. And they know that I won't surrender, so they fear me as a contender. When I fight, they always remember, yeah. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great. 'Cause we came here to conquer, like we're monsters. We can last much longer, we do this for honor. We came here to conquer, like we're monsters. And we can last much longer. I am a hunter, I've been filled with demons and hunger. I am the thunder, I command the masses in numbers. Look at the fear in their eyes, this is what happens when you are surprised. It's time to meet your demise, just call me Zeus and look to the sky. Everything's amplified, no they cannot deny, I will be rectified. If you dissect me, find scars that you left behind. Injuries that define me to my core, they'll hear me roar like never before. The pain I absorbed, it's feeding my core. I'm hard to ignore, I'll beat down your door. If you wanted war, well then you got war. And they know that I won't surrender, so they fear me as a contender. When I fight, they always remember, yeah. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great.
You gotta bring that new one in. Okay. Watch out, cause I'm here now and I'm staying. Claws out, this the fight that I've been craving. I know there's something inside of me, but it's been masked by fear and anxiety. But no more, I'ma break out of the chains. Let's go! I'm waking up, this ain't enough. All of my dreams were starting to rust, but I believe that I can adjust. Positive thoughts, I'm starting to trust. Nothing's deserved unless you work. Something of worth requires an urge. I have been hurt by those at their worst, but that gave me will, some power, a surge. And they know that I won't surrender, so they fear me as a contender. When I fight, they always remember, yeah. I will be known, I won't let go. I will not stop, I will be great.
All right, we're here. Overtime Arkansas, second edition. We're excited to bring you stats and scores from around the state. Right now, we've got the main board pulled up here for you. Let's get some of those updates for you. If you want to go ahead and unplug that, Nate, that'll be great. And so we've got Cabot, number 7 in our rankings against Bentonville West, getting a big victory, 21-8. Let's go down. We got Warren, the number 5 team in 4A with Whitehall, the number 10 team. They win that one by 7, 34-27. That was a good one. Elkins, the game we had for you right here, 49-13, the number 4 team in 4A versus the number 4 team in 3A, getting it done. We'll talk more about that one as we go. Greenbrier takes down Bologna 39-6. Shiloh Christian with a big victory over the number 1 Little Rock Christian, 43-22. Crossett, number 9. We don't have an update on that yet. We're gonna get some on that one. We'll update that here shortly. And then
Glen Rose and Malvern.
I went ahead and unplugged that, so you don't have to do that.
Okay, good.
And then, so Little Rock Mills 45-28.
We'll have to plug that up,
Rivercrest.
by the way, or we won't have that for
Really?
very long.
Okay, so 45-28, Little Rock Mills over Rivercrest. That was one of our big-time games of interest. Rivercrest coming in number 1 in the 4A. They go down, and that's a huge victory by Little Rock Mills. But that's also going to help a team like Elkins tonight in the 4A continue to move up in those polls.
Yeah, we saw Elkins tonight. That was a big one here. Elkins and Charleston, two teams that, when you talk about names and teams that are really respected highly right now. I mean, we had Charleston as the number 4 team in 4A. We had Elkins the number 4 team in – I'm sorry, the number 4 team in 3A.
Yeah.
Elkins the number 4 team in 4A.
Right, the Battle of the Fours.
That's right. And the Battle of the Fours wasn't much of a battle tonight, although Charleston had an opportunity. We'll talk about that in a minute.
You know what happened?
What?
The best number 4. Todd Story wasn't here. Man,
Good one. That's a good one.
I'm pulling them out right now.
Well, let's go to our first interview from our Game of the Week. We'll talk about it after we come back. This is Dizzy Dean and Deshaun Chairs. We'll talk about Chairs in just a moment.
Yes, sir.
We got Dizzy Dean, we got Deshaun Chairs. Both of those guys are on our D3 Auto Sales MVP list. Guys, big game tonight. Coming down to Charleston, they're a traditional power defending 3A state champion. Each year is different, but tell us about the win tonight.
Yeah, I think overall it was a team win. The offense started a little slow, and the defense kept us in it. And then we had some things go wrong, a few turnovers, and Charleston scored, and we were able to bounce back and get a touchdown and just get things rolling from there.
You hit the nail on the head right there.
All right, Deshaun, you had a pretty big game, 55-yard touchdown or punt return for a touchdown. I think we had you down at 157, 159, somewhere in there. Tell us about your game tonight, what you saw out on the field.
I was a little slow to start. I had a fumble, but that's all good. I had to shake it off the next play and just keep going, get these guys rolling on offense.
Dizzy, noticed your poise. I feel like you put a little bit more polish on your game throughout the summer this year. Tell us what you did to do that this year.
I think just gaining strength and just the game slowing down, just going from one year to the next, just all the reps I've gotten, it's helped me slow the game down a little bit and just be able to fine-tune all the small stuff.
Tell us a little bit about what you guys your goals are for this year. I mean, you guys are obviously a contender in the 4A. What are you guys doing to set your goals for the year?
Coming out every day ready to practice 1-0 every week.
Just focus on each game each week and just making sure we win that game and let anything individual follow that.
You guys got Clarksville next. You know anything about them?
They're going to be a powerhouse run team, and we'll have to shut them down and score quick.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here on Overtime Arkansas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're back here at Overtime Arkansas.
Well, first of all, let's say this real quick. If you hadn't hit the share button, do that right now. Get this thing out there, man. Overtime Arkansas. I think this is where it's at as far as scoreboard shows go across the state of Arkansas. But we had Deshaun Chairs. We had Dizzy Dean. All name team, by the way. Dizzy Dean for sure. I mean, how do you beat that?
He's a Hall of Fame name right there.
Do you know that I may be mistaken, but I'm almost positive
you could throw further than his grandpa.
That Dizzy Dean invented the curveball, if I'm not mistaken. And it was thought to be an optical illusion, and he threw it one time around a tree. And then it was no longer an optical illusion, right? But anyway, Dizzy Dean, Deshaun Chairs. So let's talk about Chairs a little bit. Chairs, one of the best running backs in the state of Arkansas. I have no doubt about that. That guy is, number one, he brings the pain, okay? Yeah. He's 5'8", he's about 195 pounds, and he just brings the pain. Every time that he runs the football, if you're met first contact, you're going to meet a load right then and there. And the second thing about him is I've noticed I feel like he was a little quicker in his steps. I felt like you talk about cutting in and out, cutting full speed, that sort of thing. 55-yard punt return for a touchdown, along with a big game. I think we had him down final for 159 yards.
Right.
There was a time that we thought Mercy Rule came into effect, but there was a time that we thought that he might go for 200 or 300 tonight.
And he probably could have. They kind of got a little bit vanilla there at the end. But, I mean, man, you talked about him cutting there. There was a couple plays where he just, that's something that definitely guys on the next level look at. Is the change of direction and the hips and the guys that can do that. And he's one of those dudes that full speed can cut without slowing down at all. when you got a guy like that, it's special. You know who he reminds me a little bit of? He's a bigger version, which is good for him. But a lot of Tracy Steiger at Russellville back in the day had a lot of that kind of motion. Of course, had a great career at Arkansas Tech as a wide receiver. But yeah, Deshaun Charis, I mean, he definitely didn't disappoint. Not to toot our own horn, but we brought you Jalen Dupree last week, arguably the best running back in the state, and then here we go, week 2, we've got Deshaun Charis, and he's right there. I mean, both fun back, kind of a little bit different kind of guys, but you know, Malvern's Jalen Dupree, one of those more of a one or two cuts, get north and south, and Charis can kind of just, you know, he's one of those dudes that can make you miss in a phone booth. So a lot of fun right there. Dizzy Dean, man. He's got some weapons, and that it's fun to see this Elkins offense. They just kind of spread you out. And do we have an interview with Zach Watson? You want to go ahead and get to that now, or do you want to wait?
Let's go to Zach Watson.
All right.
Got Coach Zach Watson of the Elkins Elks. Coach, you came down here, so it's a traditional power. You knew it was going to be a game that you had to be ready for. Tell us a little bit about it.
You know, you're right. You know, Coach May does an excellent job. Him and his staff get their guys ready year in and year out, coming off a state championship. And they didn't disappoint. They came out and hit us in the mouth, and we had to respond. I like the way our guys responded. I thought we did a good job in the second quarter of kind of opening it up and extending the lead a little bit that helped us kind of get into that third quarter and kind of separate there in the third quarter.
You guys are a rhythm offense, and you found that rhythm in the second quarter. What was it that you did to find that rhythm?
You know, I just think we kind of got locked in a little bit, you know, and we did a good job of finding the open man. I thought we did a poor job maybe finding the open man early and putting it on him. And then Deshaun, you know, he got loose there and started to get in the groove a little bit, and the offensive line did a tremendous job. They've really stepped up and done a good job for opening up holes for him.
I don't think it's any secret that this year's team is a team that a lot of people are looking at as a possible contender to win it all. How do you keep those expectations going, but also how do you keep them in check?
You know, we talk about that all the time. You know, at the start of the year, you know, we've flown under the radar for the last 2 years a little bit. And we talked about, you know, we've got a big bullseye on our back. We're not the hunter anymore, we're the hunted. And I think they know those expectations, and they got to bring it and prepare like that each week, Monday through Thursday. I thought we had a good week. Our first week, I thought we let down a little bit, you know. So this was good to get punched in the mouth early to open these guys' eyes up a little bit, and so we can lock it back in and get ready for Clarksville next week.
And you got Clarksville next week. What do you know about them?
You know, they're a tough offense. They're just like Pottsville. You know, Pottsville is flex bone. You know, they're the single wing. You know, and it's tough to get ready for in a week. Obviously, we had a pretty good plan against them last year, and I think we're just going to have to build off that plan and be ready for them next Friday.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Thanks for joining us in Overtime Arkansas.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you.
That they've got an opportunity to get better as the season goes on. You want to talk about a tough non-conference schedule. Next week is Ozark, and I believe they said it was at Ozark, and then they go to Nashville. That's tough. But I know that the Charleston Tigers, when it comes down to it, really, really good quarterback coming in. I think he reminds me a lot of Brandon Scott. That was Carter Little. Carter Little really – I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. He threw some balls that were right on the receivers. They just weren't able to catch them.
Not to get carried away, but he has that sidearm kind of release. Tyler Wilson, a little bit of him. I kind of remember of him kind of like that. At Greenwood, a little bit of Patty Mahomes. You know, he kind of make throws at different arm slots. And, man, I really think that Benville's got a good one, kind of like we saw last week with Malvern.
Even Charleston's got an even
Bishop
better
Allen. Yeah, and Charleston, sorry.
You better be careful with that.
It's been a long day.
You'll get run out of this press box right here, right now if you say that. Get them two mixed up.
Carter Little, the Charleston Tiger, definitely something to work with in the future.
And I think that they'll bounce back. You know, this game, they scored the first touchdown. This game was a good game until
really
a couple turnovers came in, and then it got away from them. So let's go quick to the main board there. Once again, we're going to go to a break here in just a moment. We'll have Alan Russell. bounces back with a big victory over Glen Rose, 44-13. Conway comes up and beats Bentonville 42-39. Conway is the number one team in I got it there. Hey, they're the number one team overall with us, which is, a lot of people argue that. They say, Bryant deserves it. We just went with Conway. That was our team. Little Rock Mills,
blue and white teams,
right? Little Rock Mills is winning. They're probably on their way to victory, 45-28. Shiloh Christian, probably the biggest victory of the night at Little Rock Christian. Little Rock Christian was our number one team in 6A. They go down. Shiloh Christian shows that they're for real. And I mean, when I say for real, I mean for real.
Yeah,
going to Little Rock Christian and win that one. Greenbrier, we talk about a lot of these rivalry games. We gave a lot of updates over the night. Rivals Cup victory. Congratulations to you Dover Pirates that are in here right now. The Dover Pirates win.
Yeah, 7 out of 10, just dominating the series
you love
over
it.
the last
You
10
love
years.
it, don't you? You love it. Bentonville West falls to Cabot 21-18. Cabot bounces back after a loss to Fayetteville. Warren with a big victory over Whitehall. That was a heck of a ball game. And you see that one down at the bottom left. It was 49-13. And then you have an updated score. We've got Magnolia 45, Crossit 17. Magnolia is a team that I don't think enough people are talking about right now.
I agree. And that Rivercrest Mills game, man, that Mills let everybody know they're still for real. They lost some big-time guys from last year.
Yep.
But they're definitely doing work. Got that win over Rivercrest and going to shake up the polls a little bit right there.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of shake-up in our polls this week because of all of the bouncing back and back and forth here. You got the number one team in 6A for us losing. You've got the number 2 team in 5A beating the number 1 team in 6A. I don't know if they can jump Parkview. Haven't even gotten a chance to see that score yet. But anyway, we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have Alan Russell on the phone here, and he's at Mills and Rivercrest. Mills, the number 3 team in 5A for us. Rivercrest was the number 1 team. There was some argument about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching Overtime Arkansas. If you haven't hit that share button, if you're watching YouTube, if you're watching Facebook, shame on you.
There comes a time in all of our lives when we need the help of legal services. Well, let Leah Jacobs at Heirloom Legal at 425 North Church Street in Atkins be your go-to when you are needing assistance. If you're needing a will or a trust, maybe you're helping an elder parent with Medicaid issues, or planning on opening a brand new business, maybe you have another legal need. Jacobs can help you plan your next step. That's Heirloom Legal, helping families build and protect their legacy through estate, elder, and business planning. Call 501-819-2553, and walk-ins are welcome.
We're back here on Overtime Arkansas. Brad Caldwell, Duran Miller. Man, we're what a great day in high school football. Of course, we just enjoy being out here. And and I'll tell you right now, let's say thanks to the Charleston Tigers for all the hospitality that they have given us over this time. I mean, just everything that we needed. They were here. I mean, we're here in the press box right now
they
doing
gave us
this.
The keys to the booth, basically.
Right, doing this Overtime Arkansas show. So we appreciate Mr. Story for allowing us to be here. On the phone right now, we got Alan Russell. He is at the Mills and Rivercrest game. And Alan, I know the game is not quite over yet, but it looks like our number 1 team in 4A is going to fall tonight.
Yes, sir. They're going to go down tonight. Looking like 59-34. Mills come in. Achilles Ringo was good as advertised. Threw 5 touchdown passes and leave a 2-point conversion. But the thing here tonight, Brad, and I don't know if you guys there in the studio could look this up. We had 47 flags tonight.
Wow.
And that's why we're just now wrapping it up. A lot of calls here tonight. Hard to tell you, if they were warranted or not, but just know we had 47 flags out here tonight. Rivercrest did have their top back, Turner, go out of the game early with 2 personal fouls back-to-back. He went out, but that was all they went down. Rainey stayed in. Rainey did a good job of running the ball. Just Mills really in the second half got their D together and really just shut down Rivercrest.
Mills is the number 3 team in 5A, and Rivercrest is number 1 team. Now, Alan, you and I had a discussion about this earlier this week about Rivercrest and being the number 1 team in 4A. Right. Of course, Mills is the number 3 team in 5A. and we're not trying to slight Rivercrest in any way. Rivercrest was the number 2 team in 4A last week, and Malvern lost, and they moved up. I know it hurts them, though, to lose that game being the number 1 team in 4A.
Yes, sir. Like I said, they lost Turner early, but I don't think that would have made a difference. Maybe another score or two. Still think Mills is a better football team, and Rivercrest had nothing to hang their hats about. They fought. They scored 6 points in the second half. That shows you how Mills really tightened up the D. Good halftime adjustments by Mills tonight on D. I think was the difference in your ball game. And Achilles Ringo running around making plays, man, behind the line of scrimmage. They had him sacked 2 or 3 times. He just busts out and throw it to a wide open guy. I mean, he's good as advertised.
Yeah, I mean, we had a blue moon a couple nights ago, and the Comets definitely taking care of business tonight against Rivercrest Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and I'll tell you what, right now, if you see those graphics, you can't see them on the screen right now, Alan. When you get a chance to take a look at them, that's a fantastic graphic.
That's fire right there.
That's a fantastic graphic from our P Ridge studio.
That's right. Up in the clouds, you said one time.
That's right. We got.
It's heavenly,
good,
that's for sure.
What about Desart?
Well, we're going to get –
taking out Hazen.
Okay, well, see, we haven't even gotten a final on that. We've got Jim Moody. Jim Moody's going to come on and talk to us about that one. Of course, in 2 weeks, we've got Desart at Carlisle. That's going to be a fun one. And, you know, I'll tell you what, man, I've had a feeling about the Eagles. You know, we talked about putting out state championship type of teams this year as far as, hey, who's going to win them. And we never did get a chance to put that graphic out, but I was really thinking about Desart as a possibility in 2A. But we're going to get to them in just a moment here. But the number 1 team in 4A, the Rivercrest Colts, falling to the number 3 team in 5A, the Mills Comets. And I'll tell you what, man, we've got a lot of good football on tap tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All across the state, as usual. You know, good football. Like, what did you guys end up being over there?
49-13. Elkins. Whoa. It was actually close early on. Charleston made some plays, but just 2 outmanned overall. The 4A number 4 team came to town and took care of business after a few turnovers by Charleston in the second quarter.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. We're about to have Achilles Ringo come on with us. Be looking for that.
All right. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
All right. That's Alan Russell. He's the founder of 42 Sports. If you don't know, this site, which is now the Arkansas Sports Network High School, was formerly 42 Sports. Alan started that site 2016, and now we have come together. And here you go. This is what you get. You got a lot of things, a lot of good stuff happening here. On the bottom line, you see Greenwood wins 49-0 over Fort Smith Northside. Pine Bluff wins big over Little Rock Central. Conway 35-32. We talked about that one earlier. BB with a big win, 42-8 over Newport. That's after Newport handled Osceola last week. That's a big one right there. Pulaski Academy was down to Madison Ridgeland of Mississippi. Don't see them losing too often. No scores there. P Ridge up on Gentry 48-7.
Robinson bounced back with a win after losing last week.
Yeah, well, and that's not surprising.
No, not at all.
We got the main board coming up here.
Dover over Atkins 28-16. CAC 40-6 all over Perryville. And that's Grayson Wilson going
and that's who we got next week. Next week we got Bauxite. We've got CAC. Bauxite and CAC are 2 teams that are, I think they're both in the top 10 in our 4A poll.
Yes.
They are actually both in the top
now.
10. And then you've got 2 Razorback commitments. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Wimberly is playing quarterback for them this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the quarterback last year was a good one. He moved on. I think he got a scholarship, I want to say, to Ouachita Baptist.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There was some talk of that last year. I can't remember for sure, but yeah, he's just an athlete. He can do a little bit of everything. So.
Absolutely. And so you got those 2, and you got Grayson Wilson. That's going to be a fun matchup. You don't want to miss that next week. 2 Razorback commitments. I know that, that's how we started this thing, Duran, was we went to try to find the Razorback commitments, find those kids. The very first one, gosh, I can't even think of the linebacker's name now, at Shiloh Christian that we went to see. Man, off the top of my head, the very first Arkansas Sports Network game of the week was at Shiloh Christian with Paige out of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, I believe.
Did he walk on at Arkansas or something?
No, he got a scholarship. He was a good player for him. Anyway, down on the bottom line, you see these scores. We'll keep going throughout. We're going to come back, and I'm going to try to get Glenn Parrish on the phone. So give us a minute. We're going to talk Boonville. We're going to talk Ozark if we can get Glenn on the phone. We still got ahead. We still got Pottsville. They picked up a first-time victory over Dardanelle in 10 seasons.
Huge victory.
Big victory over there for the Apaches. And then we also got Jim Moody. We're going to talk Desark Hazen if we can get cell service out there. Just thought about that. Anyway, you're watching Overtime Arkansas. Hang with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
During the Great Depression, nothing came easy. But with just 5 cents, an old truck, and a load of hay, John Tyson and his family found a way to deliver quality chicken to other hardworking people. Today, Tyson continues to find new ways to help put a chicken in every pot. Because people deserve farm-raised chicken of the highest quality. At Tyson, we remain committed to this simple promise: to always keep it real, to always keep it Tyson.
Everyone tells you to think about the future, but we know there's growth in the journey. At ATU, we value this moment because here, nature becomes your classroom. So breathe it in. You've got this. Right here, right where you are. Focus on the now, because our focus is on your success.
Well, we weren't able to get Glenn Parrish on the phone for the Boonville Ozark game, but we do have defensive coordinator from Pottsville. We've got Greg Kaufman on the phone. And, Greg, man, I've known you for years, and I have to say that right now you've probably got to be about as excited as I have ever known you to be with that victory over Dardanelle tonight.
Yeah, man, that was it was a great night at Alumni Stadium to say the least. Man, we came out and played really hard. Couldn't be more proud of a bunch of kids after the heartbreak from last week. We put in a real good week, and then to see the kids put it all together and play as well as we did, it was just a great night all around.
So tell us a little bit about it. You guys picked up a 27-13 victory, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the first of the game, it was a defensive battle going back and forth. Neither team could really get a whole lot going offensively. First quarter ended in a 0-0 tie. And then we kind of broke into the scoring column first. We kind of had a Miller, Mahan, the quarterback. He made a pretty good play. He's a pretty good playmaker. He kind of found Landon McNeely standing in the back of the end zone from 13 yards out to kind of get the score going in the second quarter. We missed the PAT there, and then they came back and scored in the second quarter, made the PAT and got up 7-6, and then we scored one more time to make the score 12-7 to end the first half. The third quarter, we came in at halftime and really kind of made sure we were on point with everything we were trying to do offensively and defensively. Third quarter, we just kind of picked up and kind of kept rolling with it. Really felt like we should have ended their scoring there. We had them. They converted a 4th and long. I think it was 4th and long pass where they flagged us for pass interference. I thought my defender was in great position. It's kind of one of them deals, you just got to live and play the next play. They wound up scoring a touchdown on that series that cut the score down. And I think at that point it was 19-13, and then we wound up scoring one more time to get that 27-13 victory. So had several guys step up and played really well. So couldn't be more proud of the group of guys.
Well, tell us a little bit about what the feeling like was in the locker room with that victory. First time in 10 years that Pottsville team was able to take down Dardanelle.
Yeah, I know. It was kind of one of them things. We felt like 2 years ago we kind of had those guys down last time we played the game at our place, and I think we were up 2 scores late in the fourth quarter and wound up. Dardanelle came back and had several things go their way, and we kind of threw that one away. We kind of felt like a couple years ago. So man, it felt really good to get the monkey off our back.
Yes, sir.
They do a great job over there at Dardanelle getting their kids ready, and our kids were fired up. They were ready to go tonight. Of course, it being a big rivalry game, and usually in most years this is a conference game. This year that it's not, we kind of hope that we don't let this be the highlight of our season, because we gotta get back to work and start the conference season next week.
Well, Coach Kaufman, I know they've got a big time player over there in Creed Vago. How did y'all kind of play him as a defense tonight?
Man, that kid's tough. Early in the game, we weren't overly afraid of his speed. Of course, we know we can run a little bit, but man, we just knew how hard of a runner he was. And you can't just you can't come in and try to arm tackle a guy like that. And he slipped away from us a couple times. We got to him in the backfield and felt like we should have had some tackles for a loss a couple times. And man, he just kept his legs turning and drove out of it and got several yards. So early in the game, we had some missed opportunities. I kind of felt like as the game progressed, he kind of started wearing down a little bit. He did. I think he wound up with 23 carries for, I think, like 130 yards or something like that. Of course, that many carries, that many yards, he just kind of got wore down. And man, defensively, we flew to the football. We ran to the football as well as I've seen the Pottsville Apache football team run to the football, and we were bringing the hammer pretty good when we got there. So, but yeah, he's a tough one. He's going to be a good one. I know he's just a sophomore, and we're going to have our work cut out years ahead.
That's great, and you hit it on a little bit when you first came on the call about how y'all were down last week losing to Elkins, who we had tonight here, the number 4 team in our 4A poll. They, what did y'all do this week to kind of keep that team kind of, not giving up and kind of moving forward in the right direction to have that type of game they did tonight?
Right. So, yeah, when you have a loss like we did last week, it's really hard to watch film and draw a whole lot of positives. But we knew there's a lot of little things. And I guess the biggest positive that we felt like we needed to do as a staff is just say, here's all the little things that we messed up on that are fixable. We know how to do the correct assignment or make the correct block or get the correct run fit. Right. And we just didn't do them last week. And when you do that against a team as talented as Elkins is, then it really explodes on you in a hurry. So we really harped on the little details as far as, the minute parts of our assignments, getting the correct run fit. Even though it might not be easy and it gets monotonous of doing it every time, it's important to the integrity of what we're trying to do, both offensively and defensively.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about. Well, great victory. Go ahead, Brett.
And I got to say one more thing. I know the intricacies of this. I know that your kids were excited, but tell us about the coaches. You guys had to be excited too, right?
Oh, yeah, I'd be lying if I said we weren't. Yeah, we were pretty pumped up, man. Our student body come running out on the field, and I'll be honest with you, I just kind of sit back there and I just kind of watched the student body celebrate, jumping in, having a great time, and I'm just sitting there. I know I had the biggest grin, the biggest smile on my face that I've had in a very long time. It was fun, and it's just kind of one of them moments where you sit back and you don't coach to win games. I mean, that's nice, and that's what we want to do. But you coach to teach kids, but in moments like that, you really sit back and you're like, man, this is really awesome.
Yeah, fun seeing that success. I actually had to come to our players' film room to do this interview because that coach's office is still bustling. They got that jukebox turned up, huh?
All right.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, Coach. Well, hey, thank you for joining us here, and get a hold of this, share this out with your friends, and let them hear what you had to say about the game tonight.
Yes, sir. Will do. Thanks for having me.
All right. That's Coach Greg Kaufman, the defensive coordinator, Pottsville. They picked up a massive victory.
Big one.
Big one there in the River Valley. They sure did. And I believe they've got Haskell Harmony Grove next week. So, I mean,
conference play comes quick.
You know, last year that game was really a decider of the conference.
Honestly, they played Haskell, I think, better than anybody. Unless, did Bobcat pull off the upset that last week? I want to say maybe something like that
I believe
happened.
yes. So
other
what
than that,
they went into the last week in really good shape to be the 2 seed. But there were 4 teams tied at 2 last year. They lost that ball game 22-21, and I believe they were up 21-14 with time just winding down.
And it was controversial at Haskell at the end there, and I know a lot of Pottsville people weren't happy about the way it ended, but yeah, I mean they're fixing to have them at home this year, so big time win tonight to get some momentum going.
And maybe this is a springboard for them.
It might be. They have some talent. They show it at times, but they can start putting it all together. Pottsville can be a force in that conference.
Well, you see down at the bottom line again, scores from around the state. Rogers over Bishop Kelly of Oklahoma. Batesville falls to Maumelle tonight. Nettleton takes down Pocahontas. Batesville Southside, I should say. They get me when I say that. 42-13 over Bald Knob.
Yeah, they do.
And Hot Springs Lakeside came back and beat Russellville. That was a barn burner.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, 56-52, Green Forest over Greenland, 48-35, Boonville over Ozark. We're going to have Glenn Parrish here in a little bit talking about that one. But I think we're going to try to get Jim Moody in here. Is that who you're talking to right now? Okay. All right, talking to who?
My wife.
Oh, God.
He's got my phone controlled through the board. So
okay.
What are you doing talking to my wife, Nate?
All right.
Come on now.
Well, let's go to a quick break, and we're going to try to get Jim Moody in to talk about that Hazen Desart game.
You got to watch his 18-year-old kids.
Right. I know it. Anyway. All right, well, guys, we'll be back here in a moment. You're watching Overtime Arkansas as you see our main scoreboard of the night. Big wins across the state of Arkansas. Great games tonight. What an awesome night it was for high school football. If you hadn't hit that share button right now, man, I don't even know. I might cry. I don't even know. I'm just – come on. 59-34 was the final score of Little Rock Mills over Rivercrest. We'll be back here in just a moment with more Overtime Arkansas.
There comes a time in all of our lives when we need the help of legal services. Well, let Leah Jacobs at Heirloom Legal at 425 North Church Street in Atkins be your go-to when you are needing assistance. If you're needing a will or a trust, maybe you're helping an elder parent with Medicaid issues, or planning on opening a brand new business, maybe you have another legal need. Jacobs can help you plan your next step. That's Heirloom Legal, helping families build and protect their legacy through estate, elder, and business planning. Call 501-819-2553, and walk-ins are welcome.
Back here on Overtime Arkansas, thank you for joining us here. We got to thank the man upstairs, Mr. Bill Harshaw.
Yeah.
For putting this together, man.
Yeah.
Oh, really, Bill?
None of this happens without Bill
right.
Harshaw.
I'll tell you what,
Great,
I think about when I look at these graphics.
He's built everything on what you see here.
I think 2001 WCW. That's got that look. I love it, though. Well, we've got a man on the phone right now, Mr. Jim Moody. He's going to join us here and talk about one of the biggest games in 2A tonight, where the Desark Eagles were able to pull off an overtime victory over the Hazen Hornets. And, Jim, I know that the atmosphere at Desark had to be crazy.
Oh, it was electrifying tonight. Desark's always a good place to visit, always a great football tradition. You could just feel it in the air when you got to the game that there was going to be something special happening.
Well, the game was back and forth. Tell us a little bit about the game. Tell us what happened.
Well, like you said, it was back and forth. A great running game from both teams. Both teams were laying the wood to each other. Very emotional. You could tell from the beginning that this game just meant so much to the players. In the end, it just came down to who wanted it more. And Desart just made that last push, and you could just see it on their sideline and the fans with the players that they were ready for Hazen tonight.
Well, I can say this: we've done a couple of Desark and Hazen games of the last couple of years, and both of those teams, you won't find a team in the state that plays harder than both of them. So when you say they were bringing the wood, I 100% believe you.
Oh yes, there were so many hits that you could hear outside the stadium. I feel like. There were people lined up, and it was amazing. I don't see many games like this.
Well, I tell you what, Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought there.
It was just so special to watch. Like, there's that one game every year that you just say, thank you for letting me be here, and this was one of them.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad you were there. well, Jim, let's talk a little bit about the backstory of this ball game. Last year, we were at this game, and Hazen destroyed Desert. Of course, Hazen destroyed everybody.
Right.
Luke King was our MVP, D3 Auto Sales MVP, and he was unbelievable. Did we name a D3 Auto
I
Sales?
just was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
We have to do that.
Well,
real
we need to name a player of the game. We'll get that out, but I would say, who do you got?
Deshaun Chairs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Deshaun Chairs would be our D3 Auto Sales player of the game here. But our D3 Auto Sales MVP was Luke King, and he was just the straw that stirred the drink there for the for the Hazen Hornets last year. Nobody was really able to touch him. Carlisle played him close. When Luke had to set out the first half of that game, he came in and they were able to win. But really, when it came down to it, they blew everybody out. They were a special, special team last year. But, I know that Des Arc had revenge on their mind, Jim.
Revenge, and they just knew that they could do it. They were confident from beginning to end. And if you haven't heard, you're hearing it now. Mr. Davion Bell, he is a stud. Watch for him on the Des Arc team, a running back, also plays on defense. He is going to be one for everyone to watch and everyone needs to see.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean those both of those programs are very proud, and I know when we did that game last year and Hazen put it on them, I know that hurt the pride a little bit of Des Arc because they're a proud team, and I can't imagine the feeling in that locker room after this victory because they all knew, all the ones that were here last year. That were already in high school that played in that game. They knew what happened and how humiliated they felt, and to come through and get a victory this year, even though both teams are a little bit different, that's just big time right there for your program. That's going to help those guys help believe more and more in their coaches, and it's going to bode well for them moving through the season.
Oh, the way the fans and the players just rushed the field after it was over. You would have thought it was a state championship.
We got fines everywhere. We've heard 2 or 3 stories of the fans rushing the fields tonight. It's been a great night in Arkansas football, that's for sure. High school football.
Oh, for sure.
Well, Jim, what do you think? Tell us, do you got any more info on this ball game, or who's coming up for each team?
Like I said, Mr. Davion Bell from Des Arc, Mr. Flanagan, and I'm trying to think, number one on Hazen. The name slips me right now, but he was really a great player tonight.
Anderson,
and he really kept he really kept his team in the game, and he really fired Hazen up at the end. It came down really to just simple mistakes here and there for Hazen. A few penalties late in the game that really hurt Hazen, a few holding calls, and that definitely could have been better on that side.
Well, Jim, we appreciate you joining us here on Overtime Arkansas, and thank you for being out there covering one great ball game out there in Prairie County tonight where the Des Arc Eagles were able to take down the Hazen Hornets. I believe that was a number 6 and a number 3 team. We're about to get our 2A boards and all that put up here. Number 6 and 3, I believe, in 2A for us. So, big-time ball game there in Prairie County.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome, Jim. That's Jim Moody. He's one of our guys here on the Arkansas Sports Network high school side of things, and he's done a great job there covering that ball game. So I see Aaron, he's clicking. He's getting through this thing. I mean, there's adding things, and there's just all kinds of craziness going on here.
Hey, your alma mater got a victory over Danville.
Mountainburg.
26-20.
Hey, there you go. The Dragons, hey, look, the Dragons are solid, man. They can be solid sometimes. You see Conway Christian picking up that big victory. McAllister, Oklahoma over Prescott, 17-13.
Prescott's a good team,
yeah,
too.
They
That's
are.
a big win.
McCrory, 28-0 over Mount Ida. Mount Ida, almost made the state championship game last year.
Yeah,
so
they've been a very good program in the last 10
and
years.
that Bixby, Oklahoma score is not incorrect. Well, the spread is not incorrect. The score, we saw 75-6, I believe.
Wow.
I don't know if that was quite final yet. But anyway, Aaron, you need a break. Do we need to go to break? No, we don't need to go to break. You got those uploaded? Okay. Let's go to our 2A top 10 scoreboard. You can see the 2A top 10 scoreboard here. We'll wait for it to pull up on our side real quick. But you've got Mineral Springs was our number one team in number one team in 2A. They win over Falk 42-0. East Poinsett County, big time running back out there at East Poinsett County, Mr. Dennis Gaines, 56-29 win over Manila. Des Arc, as you see, the number 6 team in 2A beats the number 3 team in 2A, 36-34. Mark Tree with a bye. They're solid. We know that. Bigelow with a big win, 49-8 over England. Quitman picks up a huge victory over the Hector Wildcats, 42-28. And I believe Hector was up 28-14 in that ball game.
So I'm just being the Dover Pirate. I am. Bigelow beating Atkins last week. Dover taking down Atkins tonight, and Bigelow all over England, who's been pretty good as of late. So I mean,
you're just there.
Dover we might get a conference win this year.
There's that flame of hope. Yeah. Just that flame of hope.
I wouldn't call it a flame
at Pope County.
More of a fire burning.
There you go. Conway Christian up over Baptist Prep 48-7. Let's go to 3A. Boonville takes down Ozark. We're going to get Glenn Parrish in here in just a moment, and we're going to talk a little bit about that ball game. Boonville, the number one team in our 3A poll. McAllister, Oklahoma wins 17-13. Harding Academy over Harmony Grove, Ouachita County. We were told we needed to go ahead and there is no Camden Harmony Grove. We were told that. It is Ouachita County. Really, they say it's Harmony Grove, and if we have to delineate between the two, we got Haskell, Harmony Grove.
Yeah,
we've got Harmony Grove, Ouachita County.
My wife's from Benton, and I got kinfolks that work in Haskell. But that's when you say Harmony Grove. Personally, I'm thinking of
You better not
Benton,
say it.
Which is Haskell technically.
Boy, somebody's gonna get mad at you.
I'll be all
Somebody's gonna get mad at you. You should be used to it if you're hanging around me too much.
Yeah.
Elkins over 40.
Ouachita.
We got to get certain permissions around here. Elkins 49-13 over Charleston. BB 42-8 over Newport. That's a very surprising score to me. Magnet Cove, my goodness, what a win there.
Magnet Cove is getting better and better.
Over Fordyce, 40-36. Malvern takes down Glen Rose 44-13. Bismarck, got to watch out for Bismarck, them Lions. They beat Rising 49-12. Who saw that one coming?
Yeah, and if you're watching this, if you got the Hoxie West Side score or Salem and Thavor, Missouri,
yes,
holler at us. Let us know in the chat.
Okay, let's go to a break, Aaron, so we can get Glenn in here and he can tell us about that Boonville Ozark game, and then we're going to wrap things up here on Overtime Arkansas. Again, thank you to the Charleston admin for allowing us to do this. Couldn't do it without you guys allowing us to do it. So let's go to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk Boonville, Ozark, and we'll get to the rest of the top 10 around the state of Arkansas. You're watching Overtime Arkansas right here on the Arkansas Sports Network.
Everyone tells you to think about the future, but we know there's growth in the journey. At ATU, we value this moment because here, nature becomes your classroom. So breathe it in. You've got this. Right here, right where you are. Focus on the now, because our focus is on your success.
There comes a time in all of our lives when we need the help of legal services. Well, let Leah Jacobs at Heirloom Legal at 425 North Church Street in Atkins be your go-to when you are needing assistance. If you're needing a will or a trust, maybe you're helping an elder parent with Medicaid issues, or planning on opening a brand new business, maybe you have another legal need. Jacobs can help you plan your next step. That's Heirloom Legal, helping families build and protect their legacy through estate, elder, and business planning. Call 501-819-2553, and walk-ins are welcome.
We want to thank Aaron Powers for pushing those buttons down there. We've got our our top 10 rankings, but let's go to our scoreboards here. We're trying to get Glenn Parrish in here before we get out of here. We've got 4A top 10 ranking here. As you can see, games up there. The number 1 team in 4A, Rivercrest, falling 59-34 to Little Rock Mills. Had some injuries, had some penalties, had some ejections, and you're talking about key players going out against a team that's already pretty good, the Little Rock Mills. That's tough for them.
Yeah, big-time victory. Bauxite falls to Monticello 28-16. Malvern all over the Glen Rose Beavers 44-13, bouncing back after hitting their winning streak snap last week. Of course, they're the defending champs in 4A. Arkadelphia down, gets beat by Hot Springs. Hot Springs is looking for real this year. They're the number 7 team in our rankings.
Arkadelphia 0-2. 0-2. I wonder when the last time. Wonder when the last time that was.
Of course, we already talked about CAC all over Perryville, 40-6. And I think you've got Ouachita County, Harmony Grove, Ouachita County down 38-7. They lost to Harding Academy. McGee 38-22. The Owls taking care of Watson Chapel, and Magnolia all over Crossett. And that's we talked about that a little bit earlier. We hit on it. Magnolia has been really good. You think we got Glenn Parrish on the line?
I think we got Glenn Parrish here. We'll let them bring him in here. Go ahead and bring him on in. Glenn Parrish on the phone with us. Is that Glenn?
Yes, mate. Let me get you off speaker. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you want to throw the 3A back on there, because we're talking to Glenn right now, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Glenn. Big win for the Boonville Bearcats over the Ozark Hillbillies. How many is that in a row for Boonville?
That's 4, but this one was a war.
Was it?
Yeah, it's tied at 7, tied at 14, tied at 21. They actually led 28-27, tied at 35. Wow. It was back and forth all night. It was if you wanted offense, you needed to be in Franklin County.
Like some of those late 90s Boonville Ozark games.
Right.
Yeah, it had a feel of those 98-99 games that not quite the 56-48, but maybe the 34-28 over there in 98. It was a lot like that one.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, Glenn, do you call yourself the sports information director there at
No, my title is communication director.
Okay. I'm just wondering because you do a great job. I mean, really, as far as Boonville goes, one of the best incoming, just sports information's out there. I mean, they do a great job, and I know that you're definitely a big part of that. But tell us a little bit about who did what there for the Bearcats tonight.
All right. He's the man among boys. It was Dax Goff, scored 5 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, would you believe his first 2 touchdowns of the year were a 40-yard reception and an 82-yard kickoff return?
My goodness.
By the way, he ran for 3 touchdowns too.
Well, he is one of our D3 Auto Sales MVP candidates. He was one of the.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
He had a sack that caused a fumble that let us take 2 knees and go home.
Oh, and by the way, he won our baseball MVP award. Guy's pretty good sports. He's pretty good
he
at
ran
that
for
stuff.
227 all-purpose. He's up to about 350, 227, 50, 278, not 80, 360.
He
I had to do
what?
the math in my head. 360 all-purpose.
Oh man!
Wow,
okay.
What a night!
Yeah, make sure you you text those to me before it's all said and done tonight. Okay?
Yeah, he might be.
I will, but I would be remiss even if it is them. That Wilbanks kid can play at Ozark.
Yeah.
He in a losing effort. He had 241 yards on the ground, 195 in the air.
Woo!
We gave up a quarter of a mile.
My goodness, what?
Seriously, Ozark had 440 yards. We had 425.
What an unbelievable ball game that was there in Franklin County.
We both had 130 in penalties. I'm telling you, it was a war.
So Boonville beats Ozark tonight, game 1 of the year, correct?
Correct for us.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 1-1.
And you guys play who next?
Camden Fairview.
Camden Fairview, man. Wow.
All right, now how that came about, we supposed to play Pine Bluff Dollarway last week, and as you know, Pine Bluff Dollarway does not exist.
Sure.
And Camden Fairview was supposed to play Pine Bluff Dalloway next week, so here we are.
Well, that's going to be one
And we
heck
had
of
an
a
open
battle.
day.
One heck of a battle for sure. And then who do you got after Camden Fairview?
Harding Academy.
We were talking to Charleston over here. Charleston played Elkins tonight. Elkins is for real. They're really, really good. And, they were talking about their non-conference. They go to Ozark next week, and then they go to Nashville the next. So you guys can compare and contrast and see who has the harder schedule.
Yeah, and, they go 4-4-4-4, and we went 4-5-4, so I'm going to say we did.
Yeah, I think
but it's not like I'm not going to out them. There was another 4A school that was open week 0. We did I'm sorry. We called. They didn't answer. I'm not going to out them, but
man,
I mean, the song just rang off the hook,
right?
And I think they did fill their date. I mean, kind of like I got to salute Hamburg tonight. If you'll take on Texarkana just because you didn't have a game, and this is supposed to be Texarkana playing Camden Fair or Pine Bluff Dalloway. That's why that game happened.
Well, that is awesome. Well, I guarantee you we're going to be in touch here as time goes on, talking about the Boonville Bearcats, and who knows, we may even end up over there for a game of the week.
Well, don't go searching. I think you did that to us.
We did that last year at Boonville, though.
Yeah.
So, but it was a tough stretch for y'all. Y'all had a lot of injuries.
That Perry kid is in wherever Mississippi State is. So
Right.
we don't want to deal with him.
No kidding. 55-yarder that night, which was, I believe, second ever in Arkansas, maybe third, whatever it was. And I was just sitting there going, I've never seen this happen.
Right, that was really a surreal moment.
He kicked 3 that night.
Yeah.
No, he kicked 4. He made 3.
That's right. That is right. That was an unbelievable showing, and I left that thinking there's no way anybody can beat Harding Academy, and then all of a sudden Malvern comes in and does what they do, right?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'm breaking in a new stat program because Digital Scout quit. So I've been a little distracted, I guess, and I haven't seen scores. So I'm kind of fixing to head over to Fearless or Hootens or somebody and get caught up.
Well, you don't have to. All you got to do is just turn this show on, and you got it.
What channel are you on?
We're on the Arkansas Sports Network, Facebook, YouTube. We're all there. Yeah, I mean, there's scores up and down. The ones that we've got final, we've got.
Well, I wasn't plugging competitors. I was just, I had literally on the way home, my phone wouldn't stop ringing, and I'm sorry I had to put you guys off twice. I didn't mean to the second time.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, we don't consider some competitors. Some do consider us competitors, though, and that's okay. Well, anyway, Glenn, go ahead.
My deal is it's my job to get my kid's name out, so I'll talk to every one of them. It don't matter to me.
I appreciate it, man. Well, Glenn, we're going to let you go. We're going to wrap things up here and get our 5A scoreboard, 6A scoreboard, and 7A scoreboard in, and then we're going to call it a night.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Glenn, for calling in.
You bet. Bye.
That's Glenn Parrish of Boonville. I call him the sports information director. That's really what he is, but he won't admit that. But anyway, we're going to go to 5A real quick. Well, we got 4A up. Let's go to 5A. On the 5A scoreboard, Parkview had a bye tonight. You see that on the screen. Shiloh Christian, huge win there on Little Rock Christian. Little Rock Mills, number 3, picks up a big victory over the Rivercrest Colts. Robinson, 24-8. Over Forest City.
Then you've got, I'm trying to find where you were on there.
Springdale,
42-38 over Farmington.
Big win there.
It's a big win, and, very close to each other there. Definitely no loss of love. Valley View 26-14 over Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Warren takes down Whitehall in a close one. That seems like it was a great game. 34-27. We've already talked about Mills quite a bit, taking down Rivercrest 59-34. El Dorado, 1-point win over Camden Fairview. And Pine Bluff taking down the Tigers of Little Rock Central 45-13. So that is our 5A board. You want to go ahead and pull up the 6A? 6A top 10. As you'll see, we've got Shiloh Christian 43-22 over Little Rock Christian. Of course, that was a huge upset right there all over them. Shiloh looking really good. Catholic had a bye this week. They're our number 4 team. Cersei had a bye. Greenwood 49-0 over the Northside Grizzlies.
Watch out for Cersei. Watch out for Cersei.
That's right.
They're pretty good.
You can go ahead and take it from there. Marion had a bye, and we're at El Dorado.
Yeah, we got El Dorado over Camden Fairview 21-20. Hot Springs Lakeside takes down Russellville. I think you may have said that. West Memphis had a bye. And let's go to 7A real quick. We've also got some finals that we'll update here in just a moment. 7A, our top 10 scoreboard looks like this. We got Conway picking up a 42-39 victory. They're our number 1 team. We'll see how long that lasts. Big win there for the Conway Wampus Cats. First game of the season, by the way. They go to Bentonville, number 3 team, in 7A by us, and they win by 3. Bryant, 45-31 over Christian Brothers, Missouri. And then you got Fayetteville picks up a big victory over North Little Rock. Fayetteville, y'all, they're pretty good this year. Watch out for them. Rogers over Bishop Kelly, 35-7. Cabot over Bentonville West, 21-18. And then you've got Fayetteville again, North Little Rock. You see that. Fort Smith Southside over Van Buren, 55-28. And then Lake Hamilton and Jonesboro. And I've got some finals here that I'm going to give you. Hoxie over Jonesboro Westside, 42-6. Salem takes down Thayer, Missouri, 38-28. Lake Hamilton over Jonesboro, 27-20. Robinson, 30-8 over Forest City. Hoxie, 42-6 over Jonesboro Westside. Bigelow actually won that game 49-24 over England. I think that is all we've got.
Okay. Yeah, we had some updates there to finish them out. So just all around a great night of high school football, as always, in the state of Arkansas. We had some great games out there. We talked about just about all of them here on our scoreboard show. And it's been a lot of fun, Brad. I mean, we had a great game. We got to see Deshaun Chairs really show off. We got to see some young guys from Charleston and Mancheska, Reese,
yes,
to have a great game. That 80-yard run, still one of my favorite calls in a while. Basically untouched after he got past the line of scrimmage, and just really overall a great night and just a fun night in the state of Arkansas with all the scores and the close games we had. And we appreciate everybody that called in and talked to us about those.
So let's talk about some business real quick. Next week, and unless something crazy happens, we're going to be at CAC for the Bauxite CAC ball game. Overtime Arkansas, don't forget. Also, if you want somebody to be nominated for D3 Auto Sales Player of the Week, if you've got somebody that had a big game, I mean, the Wilbanks kid from Ozark, I mean, you're talking about 240 yards passing, 195 yards rushing.
Right.
That's a pretty good night.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the big boy over there at Booneville doing his thing. You know,
Kid at Desart, big night.
Big night. So there's definitely some kids that need to be considered. Make sure you get that into us this week. We name a D3 Auto Sales Player of the Week on Tuesday, so make sure you get with us on that. So I think for all of that, I think that's all the business we've got for tonight. We want to say we appreciate you joining us here on Overtime Arkansas on the Arkansas Sports Network.
Razorbacks tomorrow for everybody that's a Razorback fan on these sites. And
you can see,
I'll be there.
You can see Duran's, right? You can see Duran's
right up
column there.
Yeah.
On our site there on Facebook. Also be watching for the morning after.
Right.
The morning after on Sunday morning is a column that I write. Tries to take the big picture. Tries to kind of bring myself back. Take a 30,000-foot view of what's going on with the Razorbacks. Because look, it can get emotional. I get it.
Oh yeah.
It can get emotional. So we want to kind of take a step back, take a deep breath.
We're at the point of the year where a football team basically, sets up our attitude for the next 3 months.
Very true. Have you ever heard my theory on how Arkansas fans are? Okay, so Saturday you lose, right?
No.
Now it's not always. It's not always. I'm just saying Saturday you lose. Sunday you don't want to talk to nobody.
Right.
You don't want to hear. You
if
don't.
your boss
you don't
from
buy
Alabama
the
says something.
right.
I dare you to say something today.
You don't buy the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. You don't watch the news. You don't watch
stay away.
Right.
Shut off.
Exactly. Shut off.
Right.
Monday you feel a little better, but you're still kind of in that mood. Tuesday you're starting to recover.
Yeah, you get the Kool-Aid.
Right. Right. Wednesday it comes back. The Kool-Aid's starting to flow a little bit. Thursday you're feeling pretty good. Friday, you have convinced yourself that you're going to get yourself back into the national championship picture. That's how it is every
You listen to interviews all week. The coaches say the right things. Attitude's right. And
okay,
take
so
off for a victory.
I have said Razorback prediction 7-5 for me. The reason I say 7-5 though is not because I don't think Arkansas is good. I just think that that 4-game stretch at LSU, you've got Texas A&M at Arlington, at Ole Miss, and at Alabama. Those are just unbelievable. There's no 4-game stretch that's any tougher than that. I talked to a man from Alabama not too long ago, and he was like, dude, you guys always get the screws put to you when it comes to the schedule.
Now, I will say 24 schedule on paper right now looks like the best schedule we've had in a decade, if not longer. But to argue your point there a little bit, we're definitely better than Ole Miss this year. We smoked them last year, gave them 21 in the fourth quarter to make it look like it was a game. But I think we're better. And, of course, Alabama, I'm more worried about LSU at LSU because they finally got a quarterback with that juggernaut. We knew that was going to happen when Brian Kelly came there. I'm more worried about that game as a loss, even though we always play LSU tough, even when we shouldn't.
Right.
But then I am Alabama. Alabama is the most vulnerable they've been, even though they might right the ship this year a little bit. But
you know you're never going to get a call when you go to Alabama. You know that.
Exactly true. I mean, and they get the hold all day long. It's not even a problem. So, but I feel like we have a better chance against Alabama than LSU. I think Ole Miss and Texas A&M, if what's his name, the coach at what is his name at Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher. If he really lets Petrino have the reins, that's going to be a tough one.
Right.
If he doesn't, because I feel like those two are going to have some conflicts at some point. We're going to take them out.
Did you say LSU and not LS?
Well, I try to whatever. But I had to actually write that in my story, too.
Right.
I had to write the U in there. I contemplated that for about 10 minutes. No, not that long. But anyways, it's a tough stretch, but I personally have us 9-4, 10-4 after the bowl game. So I'm sorry. What is it? 9-3, 10-3. That's what I have.
Bill's got 9-4 on the season as well. You got any predictions?
Come on, Nate.
No? You? Go team. All right. Well, again, we'll have Razorback coverage for you tomorrow. Again, if you don't know, Arkansas Sports Network, Arkansas Sports Network High School. We've got Razorback coverage on one, high school coverage on the other. We're one together, just two sides.
That's right.
So
67,000 strong and counting, right?
That's right.
There we go.
That's right. So anyway,
appreciate it, everybody.
Guys, thank you for joining us. If you have any interest in sponsoring us, let us know. Give us an email at arsportsnet@gmail.com. If you like what you see here, you can also donate to us at Cash App, AR Sportsnet, or on Venmo as well at AR Sportsnet. We're going to wrap things up. Again, appreciate you joining us here on the Game of the Week, Overtime Arkansas, all of that. We really love doing what we're doing, and we will see you next week.